To celebrate our appearance at FlameCon, NYC's first LGBT comic book convention, we decided to bring you a list befitting of the celebration. Here is our Devil's Dozen of the 13 gayest horror movies.
I pledge allegiance to the flag.
You better work.
Starting off our list at number 13 is 2004's Seed of Chucky. Gay writer Don Mancini's Child's Play series had already taken a campy turn with Bride of Chucky, which featured a gay character. With the next installment, things got really gay. Chucky and Tiffany's sexually ambiguous son, Glenn, heads to Hollywood in search of his parents, who disagree on his gender and call him either Glenn or Glenda, a reference to Ed Wood's infamous transvestite classic, Glenn or Glenda. There's also a cameo by gay cult director John Waters as a skeezy tabloid photographer, and the death of a Britney Spears lookalike. Mancini has since taken his series back to its more serious roots with Curse of Chucky, which is probably for the best. Bride of Chucky was very funny, but Seed of Chucky was a bit of a mess. Gayest memorable moment? When Glenn is revealed to have an alternate female personality, Glenda, who is murderous and deranged. Sides of Psycho's Norma Bates, or an especially intense season of RuPaul's Drag Race.
You better work.
Not so much an outright horror film in the traditional sense, as it is more a drama with some disturbing violence. Nevertheless, it still lands on our list for showcasing what happens when two teenage girls discover their homosexuality against the backdrop of a repressive society and controlling parents with this Peter Jackson's 1994 film, Heavenly Creatures. Before he brought us such epics as Lord of the Rings and King Kong, Peter Jackson co-wrote and directed this small film that was based on the Parker Holm murder case that happened in his home of New Zealand. The time period for this film is in the early 50s, also known as one of the worst time periods to be gay. Based on a true story, it concerns two working-class girls played by Kate Winslet in her film debut and Melanie Lyneskey. The two meet and become fast friends. Together they create a fantasy setting called the Fourth World, where they take on royal mantles and names in their kingdom of Bavornia. It is a place that is a sort of an eternal secular Renaissance afterlife. There, their imagination comes to life in a colorful CGI way that includes the then popular morphing film technique. The daydreaming of these two outcasts creates a much stronger bond between them that begins to raise eyebrows and cloud the girls' reality. The girls' lives become complicated through a series of events that include illness, divorce, cheating parents, weight issues, and suspected sexualities that result in some bad anger management. When one of the girls' families decides that it's time to move, murder becomes a major plot point in the girls' aim to become emancipated. Gayest memorable moment? During a car ride to see one of the girls' mother, we see the two leads holding each other's hands as they fall into a fantasy showcasing them ruling their world together as the poetic voiceover recites, "'Tis indeed a miracle you must feel, that two such heavenly creatures are real."
You better work.
2011's Father's Day from Astron 6 comes up next on our list. Directed by Adam Brooks, Jeremy Gillespie, Matthew Kennedy, Stephen Konstansky, and Connor Sweeney. This film has no shortage of directors, as well as gore. Oh man, where to begin? This film within a film follows our vigilante protagonist Ahab through a ludicrous plot as he hunts down Chris Fuckman, a rapist serial killer who targets fathers, earning him the nickname the Father's Day Killer. A simple description, yes, but only scratches the surface of everywhere this story tries to go. It is a Lord of the Rings epic done in true grindhouse fashion that tries to outdo itself with all the blood and sleaze that can be packed into an hour and 40 minutes. Accompanying the one-eyed Ahab is a priest, Father John Sullivan, and a young male prostitute amply named Twink. Every blood-shedding horror trope can be found somewhere in here. There are the biggies like rape, murder, abortion, suicide, Satanism, and strippers with chainsaws, as well as an action-filled climax that takes place in the pits of hell. This thrill ride has something to touch anyone's demented tastes. Although the film mixes in horrendous violence, it skewers more towards the cartoonish side until they get to the penis-severing scene, for which the fast-forward button becomes mighty handy. This is a trauma film, after all. Gayest memorable moment, but I'm going to go with the character of Twink here. Absurd as this film is, it has no shortage of eyebrow-raising entertainment. But what makes Twink such an interesting character is how much he's included in this film. Yes, he discovers and accepts his sexuality, and I'm hesitant to say anything about this film is refreshing, but it was nice to see the gay character play a pivotal role in the movie while getting to take part in all the action.
You better work.
Next up is one of my favorite horror films, as well as one of the gayest, 2005's Cursed. The much-anticipated collaboration between writer Kevin Williamson and director Wes Craven, following the Scream series, is a clever postmodern take on werewolves in Hollywood. Plagued by rewrites and reshoots, Cursed is still a fun film. It not only involves dueling divas and reams of catty dialogue, but features a gay character. Milo Ventimiglia's Bo starts off as a bully tormenting Jesse Eisenberg's Jimmy for being gay, then realizes he's gay himself and in love with Jimmy. There's also a cameo by Mrs. Ellen DeGeneres herself, Portia de Rossi, as an amusingly bitter psychic, and a butt shot of a naked post-transformation Jimmy. Gayest memorable moment? An hilarious scene Jimmy tries to explain his werewolf curse, and Bo thinks he's talking about homosexuality. Jimmy explains that one aspect of lycanthropy is that he has a sexual allure. Yeah, you do, Bo says. Though Jimmy doesn't return Bo's interest, he's supportive even as he hurries him out the door. Yay, go gay, he declares.
You better work.
Up next on our countdown is 1988's Elvira, Mistress of the Dark. It's a female-as-female drag queen movie role, and perhaps the only one to utilize many of the tropes found in horror movies. And let's call it as we see it. Basically, this is the gayer version of The Sound of Music, only with boobs and horror. Starting off as a horror hostess for a late-night television cable channel, we see Elvira getting some disrespect as she is pressured to get it on with one of the affiliates. Angry over being exploited, at least when she's not exploiting herself, she walks off stage. She hits a small snag in her plans to open her own Vegas show when she runs out of money to finance it. Good luck comes by way of her receiving a letter that her aunt has died and left the house to her. The catch is that it is in Falwell, Massachusetts, the land of conservative bigotry, as the name Falwell would imply. Waiting for her in the town is her corrupt uncle, who is also an evil wizard, and a protective familiar in the form of Gonk, a poodle that Elvira gives a drag makeover to. Elvira is quickly ostracized from the town to the surprise of no one. It kind of makes no sense as to why her occultist witchy family would ever move to a place as religiously conservative as Falwell, Massachusetts, to begin with, but the setting provides a major conflict for Elvira. There she is able to befriend the town's teenagers and make enemies of their parents, all while providing her trademark double entendres and relying on her sex appeal, while also being condemned for it. Elvira narrowly escapes being burned at the stake by the townspeople that culminates into a cartoonish end fight with her evil uncle. Gayest memorable moment? Elvira throws a special one-night movie madness screening where we get to see a bunch of kids fake laughing in the theater. Her screening ends with an ode to Flashdance as Elvira's body double gives a delightful performance that culminates in her being tarred and feathered by a jealous town rival.
You better work.
Our next entry, 2005's Hellbent, was billed as the first gay horror movie. It isn't really, but it is the first film to populate the standard slasher movie formula with scantily clad boys instead of girls. A buff, shirtless killer with a mask and sickle is decapitating the gay boys of West Hollywood on Halloween, also known as Gay Christmas. There's softcore sex, hardcore gore, a character in drag, and a shy guy who comes out of his shell by wearing a leather boy outfit. Porn star Colton Ford even cameos as a chainsaw-wielding performer drenched in stage blood and glitter. Gayest memorable moment? Bare-chested Tom Welling lookalike Eddie's lover has handcuffed him, which would be fine if the killer hadn't entered his apartment. Slashers are famous for their final girls, but Eddie's a final boy.
You better work.
1983's The Hunger is next on our list, directed by Tony Scott and starring Susan Sarandon, Catherine Deneuve, and David Bowie. Catherine Deneuve as Miriam Blaylock proves that she's the top in each of her relationships as she grooms and then gores down on her chosen victims, proving that immortality doesn't always come with immortal youth. The first half of the film plays out where we see Bowie's character trying to find a cure for his newly found problem, mainly that he is immortal but will continue to age. He seeks help from Dr. Sarah Roberts, who specializes in studying rapid aging. In a particularly frightening scene, we see Miriam locking an aging Bowie into a coffin with her collection of other lovers who are doomed to age in an eternal conscious death. Dr. Roberts returns to try and help Bowie, but instead is seduced by Miriam into being her next lover. Over the course of the second act of the film, we see Sarah's transformation and hunger emerge as she tries to resist her desire for human blood. Miriam aims to comfort her and express that she will cast off the coils of her humanity soon enough and forget about it altogether. Sarah rebuffs this by cutting her own throat and transferring her own blood into Miriam's mouth as they kiss. After we see Miriam try and place Sarah in a coffin with her other collected lovers, they all arise and are freed as they cause Miriam to fall off a balcony and age on the way down. Gayest memorable moment? When Sarah first meets Miriam in a case of living girl meets unliving girl, they share a kiss and a bit more naughty stuff that ends in one regrettable bite on the arm.
You better work.
The next title on our list is Stage Fright. Musicals are inherently gay, but a horror musical set at a musical theater camp featuring a closet case actor and a flaming stage manager and the Rocky Horror Picture Show's Meatloaf, super gay. And Ashley, if you haven't watched this yet, this is another reminder to please do so. 2014's gory Stage Fright, directed by Jerome Sable, is filled with catchy tunes and funny characters, and a queer romance that's actually fairly affecting. Gayest memorable moment? And the song Where We Belong, featuring all the campers returning to the one place they feel accepted, there's this choice moment.
All of us have heard these names of hate, but let me get one thing straight. I'm gay, but not in that way. Musicals move me and touch me in ways I can't say.
He's gay, but not in that way.
I sleep with women, but musicals make me feel gay.
I'm gay, I'm actually gay. I don't get hard when I see TNA. Could be my DNA or how I was raised.
We don't distinguish here at center stage. We're all gay in all kinds of ways.
Some in the bedroom
And some cause of musical plays.
You better burn, witch.